Hey guys, Vinyl Rebel, Elijah Gomez. How you guys doing? Hope you guys are having a great day. Um, I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. It's been a while, um, but hope everything's going well. Blessed day. It snowed here last night, so in San Antonio, Texas, pretty crazy. Snow's just melting away. It snowed before. It gets maybe like some flurries and gets kind of cold and icy. But it's in my lifetime, it snowed up like a big snow like 3 times. Um, but last night was a pretty great thing. The kids, my wife and our kids went outside and it was really nice. It snowed like crazy, so it was great. Um, but I hope you guys are having a great time. Um, I just wanted to do a video for the vinyl countdown for Peaches for a contest. Um, I just thought I'd do it. This is my second contest I've ever entered, but I do it because I do have, he was talking about records that have cars or talk about cars and songs or something like that, and I'm going, wow, there actually are records like that have talk about cars and things like that. So that was pretty cool, pretty original. Way to go, Peaches. Um, so I'm going to make this first video. I'm going to hopefully do another one in a few minutes about myself, a little bit more about myself. But also got a few things that I kind of want to show real quick. Let me start with this. Um, I want to start with this one because it was of a band that I hope you guys see that I was the band that got me into rock and roll, hard rock, and then Iron Maiden was the one that got me into metal. But I was gonna just say Number of the Beast, but it's not Number of the Beast. It's actually Peace of Mind that got me into metal. But this was the band that got me into hard rock. It's Kiss with Destroyer. I found this for like $11. It's very nice condition. Original pressing, Casablanca Records, 1976. There, it's got a little bit of ring wear and a little bit of wear on the edges, but not too bad. Um, the inner sleeve looks great. You see it there. There it is, guys. Pretty cool. Really excited to have this. Um, Jammed out to it the other day. Okay, so one more thing, a few more things real quick. I picked the CD up of Marty Robbins because I love Marty Robbins. I love the song Old El Paso, which I used to listen to when I was a kid. My dad was really into like Johnny Cash and things like that. So I would listen to a lot of that stuff growing up as a kid. So, and you'll see my son walking around in the background. No, he's not in it. No, he's not. He's like, no, I don't want to be in it. Um, but it's really cool because he has one CD that's kind of like gunslinger westerns, and the other one is like rockabilly music, which is really cool. I love rockabilly, big fan of rockabilly. But he sings like "That's All Right," that's Elvis sang. Um, he sings "Long Tall Sally," Maybelline, which is really weird because he's got this country voice and he's singing these rock songs. But I love it's a double CD. Marty Robbins, Essential Gunfighter Ballads, and more. So, pretty awesome. Excited to find that. And I get into that because I'm a big fan of a gentleman named Nick 13. And this is him right here. And he sings kind of along that same line of Marty Robbins stuff and everything else. And I have a CD in the car. I always listen to it. But it's pretty amazing. He's the lead vocalist of a rockabilly punk band called Tiger Army, which is some great stuff. So now getting into Peaches contest. Now Peaches, I did find more than 5, so I'm going to show you a little bit more than 5, only because it's there. You have to show it. So first one I want to start out with is I'm a big fan of this gentleman. I love this band in the 80s, grew up in the 80s. I'm 45 years old, so I'm born in 1972. So just in the 80s, man, I'm all about that. So Stray Cats with Built for Speed. It's got all the hot rods and everything. Sorry about the glare, guys. It's got all the hot rods and everything else. American Muscle, love it. And it does have let me see, a song called Rev It Up and Go, Built for Speed. So yeah, all about hot rods and cars. Yeah. Okay. Another one from the Stray Cats, Rant and Rave. Got that with 33 Ford in there, I think. Man, it's a nice car. I love hot rods. Me and my wife are big hot rod people. So, Stray Cats, Rant and Rave. Boom. Now, the Eagles. This is their greatest hits. But Eagles, now people go, well, why the Eagles? Well, I'll tell you why the Eagles. Because some people go, well, I don't get it. The song Take It Easy, which, if you recite the lyrics, I was standing in the corner of Winslow, Arizona. I got several women on my mind. There's a girl, my lord, in a flatbed Ford. Okay. Boom. Eagles. That's why. Cars. I'm going to show, that's 3. I'm going to do another one. 38 Special, Wild Eyed Southern Boys. I know guys can't see the cars. You didn't notice there were cars in this one, but there are cars in this one. So, but this was great artwork, man. This is artwork. This is great. I miss these times when bands would do stuff like this. I'm sorry about the glare, guys. My front window is kind of big. So, cars. There we go. Awesome. I'll save this one for later. Autograph. Can you guess the song? Blondes in Black Cars. I didn't even snap. I was like, I can't do that contest. I don't know of any albums with cars on it or yeah. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5. But I got 2 more just to show you, and one of them I want to show you because I just picked it up. Isn't that beautiful? Purple and red and black, or blue, purple. I would say purple. Some people say deep blue. I don't know. Turbo 30 looks great. I love this album. Some people don't, but I like it. I grew up in the 80s, man. So, and just for fun, the Cars. Heartbeat City. Bam. That's it. So I wanted to show you guys those for Peaches and for his contest. Hope you guys liked it. I want to do another video, or I don't know if I should just do it now. Maybe just talk about it now instead of doing 2 videos. Maybe just talk to you guys about myself and my history, my music history. I was, of course, born in the early 70s, went through all the 70s genre music as a little kid, discovered Kiss in 1976. I was around 4 years old. My favorite movie is Star Wars. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. So when I was a little kid, grew up in the 80s listening to Warrant, Slaughter, Winger, Megadeth, Metallica, Testament. Man, all those bands. That was it. I was a metalhead, and I was always ridiculed for it. You know, when I was a kid, I had long hair. My hair was really long, and almost all my life until like later on when I got married, still had the long hair. Even when my first child was born, my daughter was born, I still had long hair. It was about right here, down on a little bit past my chest, one length, just all long. Cut it, grew it again, and cut it again. But yeah, you know, I was always ridiculed for being into metal. It was kind of weird. My father was a minister, and so we would go to churches, and people would be like, you know, your son is listening to Motley Crue and Megadeth and all this other garbage. And my dad was like, you know what, he's not a drug addict. He doesn't cause any problems in school. But I still, he supported it, and it's kind of weird because we were growing up in a time where people would play like, they would come to our house, friends of his, and like, listen to this. This is like this audio pastor, a cassette of a pastor on audio talking about spinning records backwards, and there's like these evil messages in them, and I was really like, who's gonna listen to a record backwards? Like, how am I supposed to know what they're saying backwards? And they just had all kinds of silly stuff, and my dad was just kind of like, really, you know. So, like, I'm supposed to know what that says backwards, like, you know what I mean? Like, if I'm listening to a record forward, like, how am I supposed to get what it's saying backwards? So, my dad thought it was a waste of time, and it was funny because at the time, I was a kid, teenager. I was also playing Dungeons and Dragons, so that was a big no-no in the church because it was like teaching you evil when the actual guy who created Dungeons and Dragons was actually a Christian himself. And I play it today with my wife and kids. We set up a table and we do a campaign, and it's a lot of fun. We have a blast doing it. So and it helps their imagination. My kids are homeschooled, so it helps their imagination and kind of gets them to socialize with each other and everything else. And they're very outgoing, so it's a lot of fun. So growing up in that time was very interesting and a lot of fun too. Uh, back in the day, we used to go out and sit on our cars at night, in our parents' cars at night, turning on the '80s radio, looking up at the stars with our friends from the neighborhood, all these kids, and we just get together. And when the lights came on at sometimes at night, the street lights, that's when it was time for supper. You go, you didn't have a watch, the lights are on, dinner's ready, I'm going. So that's what you did. So it was a lot of fun. And nowadays you just don't do that anymore. Kids don't, and you can't in some places. But it was a lot of fun back then. Growing up in music, my dad was a singer. He could sing. My mom played piano. My brother played bass and guitar, piano, and the trumpet, and he sang. My sister played saxophone, clarinet, and she played the bass, and she sang. I played the drums. I know a little bit of bass and a little bit of guitar, and I was a singer. So I played in my first Christian gospel group called Rejoice. It was my brother and sister playing. So we would do these little shows all over the place at different churches and youth rallies and stuff like that. And it was cool. We started getting into Christian rock like Petra and Sweet Comfort, and I always wanted to play that. I wanted the drum to that. And I auditioned for a local band called Paradox, and they have an album out called Power and Glory and Ruler, and they had opened up for Barren Cross and stuff like that. So I auditioned for them, but I didn't have the double bass, double bass pedals, so I didn't get it. Although I kept the time, I just wasn't as fast as with using the double bass pedals. After that, I joined a band called Archangel with my brother on bass. It was a metal band, and then I switched to vocals because we needed a drummer. We needed a singer, and I could sing. But we had a friend who was a drummer, so he just went into the drums, and I started singing, and I started singing ever since then. After that, I joined. The band changed its name to Risen. We did a few demo tapes. We played all over the place. Marble Falls, Texas, the Texas Rock Fest, which was a lot of fun. Got a lot of good reviews. After that, I played in another band like an acoustic band that I formed called The Faith, with me and a friend of mine, Damien Varial, who plays in another band now. And I just had the name, and they're actually on Spotify, and you can find those guys out. And I'll leave a comment and put their link and everything to their video. I played with when I played with Archangel, who changed their name to Risen. Before that, our rhythm guitar player, his son, now plays in a band called Even in Death, and our drummer's the drummer at the time is now the drummer for that band too. So you can find their videos on YouTube. They're called Even in Death. Um, so pretty great band. After that, I was in a band called Forgiven, and then we changed our name to Soul Child. And under both names, we got reviewed in Heaven's Metal magazine. And we were opening up for Tourniquet, Slamcat, Jesus Freaks, Deliverance, uh, Savior Machine, Mortification. So we were like a power metal band. It was pretty cool. And then after some years, I toured with another band that it was like a Just Say No to Drugs thing. So we were doing a tour for that, and we were playing like all these classic songs, rock songs. So I was playing drums and singing, and the drummer was a singer too. So we would switch, you know. And we were basically starving because we didn't have much, and the company that was promoting the whole thing was actually taking the money from the shows that we were doing at the schools. And so we would do these shows at schools, and we were touring in Florida and Georgia and everything else. And they would sell tickets for the night show. When we would do night shows, it was kind of bigger, more production, and we actually had a road crew, and we did all kinds of stuff. And um, that's it was cool. But you know, they would take all the money from the tickets, so we didn't have any food. And my wife was on tour with us because I had just got married. Um, and speaking of my wife, I've been married for over 20 years. Me and my wife, we met in the seventh grade. So, and we were together ever since then. Um, what is else? What else? What else is there to say? We've been together since then. It's been great. There's been some trials, you know, that we've gone through as a couple, you know, in life, you know, financially and things like that. It's always been more stuff like that. But yeah, we've been together since the seventh grade. I've played in this band after the band that I played in Florida. We really didn't have a name, so the management came up with a name and they called it AMPM. I have no idea what that means. So went on tour with them, left the band, me and my wife, and my guitar player for Soul Child was actually with that band as well, and he left and stayed in Florida. We were supposed to be signed. Him and I were supposed to be signed in another band under Rex with Rex Records, and we never signed because they wanted radio friendly stuff, and we didn't want to do radio friendly stuff. We wanted to do what we wanted to do. So that's what happened. Which I always thought was weird that Rex wanted radio friendly stuff because they weren't radio friendly. They didn't have bands that were all radio friendly. So after that, I joined a band called Igniter. And Igniter, we played secular clubs and Christian clubs. I probably were one of the most successful local Christian metal bands around. We played Christian, like, clubs. It was weird, like a club, but it was like a youth place. And they would serve sodas and foods and drinks and everything else. But drinks, you know, like soda, you know. And we would pack it out. And we'd get people from El Paso driving down to see us and everything else. And we were playing all over the state. It was just crazy. We had one management company that wanted to sign with us, and we had a small independent label that wanted to sign with us, who was basically, they said they would do all the promotion stuff, and we're like, well, we're already doing that. We do it ourselves, you know. So what are you offering us that we can't do? And they didn't offer much, and so what they wanted to do was, if we got signed to a bigger label, they wanted to take a percentage of it to buy out the contract, which is not uncommon. But they weren't adding anything to it. You know, we were already paying for our own studio time that we were going to do. We never got to do. They actually had a cassette out with their former singer, and so it was kind of weird. But one thing about that band, Igniter, um, the lead guitar player was an old friend of mine who used to play in Risen with me. bass player was a dear friend of mine he's recently passed away not too long ago. Steve, who was a big Iron Maiden fan, but he actually played in Soul Child with me. So, and then Ignatius, who was a rhythm guitar player, whose name was Ignatius Vara, he plays in a band called Bifist, and he actually played in a rhythm in this band with David Wayne, and he would show me pictures with him and David Wayne on tour. He Bifist. Some of the members became the backup band for Reverend. After a while, after the main Reverend broke up, apparently, and David Wayne, before David Wayne passed, he told Ignatius, "Hey, I want you to carry on Reverend," and he didn't do it because they wanted a singer, and they wanted me to sing for them, but I, I didn't have the time to do it. There was no time for me to do it, so I declined it because I just had a family. I was working other places, doing other things, so never did it. They're still doing Bifist, but one thing about Ignatius too is he told a friend of mine years ago when I was in high school. He told a friend of mine that he had gone to California to record some demos, and he goes, "I saw these two bands in. I think he went two different times. One, earlier, the earlier one, he came back and he says, 'Hey, there's this band that I saw. They're amazing. They're called Racer X.' He goes, 'I saw them in this little club. They were just awesome. The guitar players were crazy, and this guitar player's name is like Gilberts or something like that.' And we're like, 'Oh wow!' Turned out to be Paul Gilbert. And then the second time he came back and he told my friend again about going to this club in Hollywood. He goes, and seeing this band. He goes, they were like no other band I ever seen before, and he goes, they're supposed to do a record. They're coming out with a record, but look for them. They're called Guns N' Roses. So he goes, the club was packed. It was crazy. So he got to see them before they actually hit it big. So it was pretty neat. But that was something cool. I thought that was, and I heard this from a friend of mine who was telling me what he had told him, and or it's something along that line. It was really weird. It was a long time ago, so I'm trying to remember everything. But just going through those years of being in a metal band, and we weren't accepted. I mean, it was dude, you're into metal, really, and I used to run the art department at Six Flags for the airbrush shops out there, and the kids were like, "You're into metal, metal, what, Iron Maiden, Kiss." That's the way it was. So even as a kid, it was that way. But it was very interesting time in the 80s, 70s, and 80s. Maybe it was a little bit more accepted. You were the glam rock, Winger, stuff like that. But when you talked about Megadeth or Metallica or Testament or Anthrax, it was maybe a little bit different. I mean, for me, it was, Um, so, or even Kiss. I mean, I, was laughed at for being a Kiss fan. So, I was laughed at for being just a metalhead, But yeah, that's where I grew up and how I got into this stuff. I mean, I had records ever since I was a kid, and got rid of them. And I think my parents first had this huge long this counter, and it had like a record player in it. It was really weird. You just pick it up. There's all these records and this record player right there. And we used to listen to my mom used to listen to the Beatles and Elvis Presley and all the rockabilly, what we call rockabilly stuff now. It was rock and roll back then. But she would even listen to ABBA and Air Supply and things like that. And my dad would listen to Johnny Cash and oh gosh, what's his name? They called him the Singing Cowboy. Oh, even Hank Williams Sr. He would listen to all that stuff. So I grew up on that. My sister listened to a lot of Christian music, gospel, and my brother listened to a lot of Christian rock, and I was the one that came up with all the metal stuff. But it's music's always been around our house. It's always been huge. So that's it's great to see my kids in the music now. But yeah, that's where I come from. That's how I grew up. I hope I was clear. Sometimes I kind of ramble and I get lost in stuff, and I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. But yeah, that's my video. That's my contest video. Hopefully you guys like it. Peaches, great job, guy. You're doing a great job with your videos, man. I'm really proud of you, and you're an asset to the VC, and we love you guys. Um, but you know, just wanted to share that with you guys, and hopefully you all have a great and blessed day. Um, that's it. That's all I got to say. Until my next video, I've got another record coming in, so I'm probably gonna do another video in hopefully another week or two. I wish I can come out with more, but I don't get a lot of vinyl in. Um, so I'll do another one soon. Okay. If you guys have any questions, I can do a Q&A if you want to. If you have any questions about anything, um, post them at the bottom, and I'll do a video about it. You know, if you want to do that, just like everybody else, you know, we all do those videos. Everybody likes to ask questions. So that's it. All right. So God bless you. Be safe out there. I love you. You're loved. Take care. Bye bye. VC.